Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Rainfall podcast. Today we're going to be talking about saplings. And so, as we saw in successors, we saw humans being experimented on, and with accelerated, we saw animals being experimented on. Saplings are the result of plants receiving similar experimentation. And so saplings are, in effect, living and sentient trees. Um, so, in general, they appear like trees do. They stand very tall, about the size of a tree. Um, but saplings are young trees, hence the name saplings. So, what about when they're older? Well, the older versions of saplings are known as archaics, and they are the main sort of force behind their people. Archaics all live in one large forested area. Um, they've all set down roots next to each other and live in a form of pure democracy with each other, where decisions are made by consensus of all the members there. And archaics have a very skewed sense of time. Because they live for hundreds and hundreds of years, as trees do, um, they view time much slower than other races do. So to them, a whole year's worth of adventuring may seem just like an afternoon to them. And so, just like it makes little sense for a human to plan for something that's going to happen in a few seconds, it makes no sense for an archaic to plan for something that'll happen in a few days. So, saplings, what's the difference between saplings and archaics? Well, like I said, their saplings are younger versions of archaics, and they haven't yet put down their roots, so they walk around and they're mobile. Now, for saplings, they see it as important for them to see the world. They believe that before they have to set down roots, before they've aged up enough for them to have to set down and be stationary, they believe it's very important for them to see the world and gather experience. They think that'll help them with their wisdom, help them to make better decisions and to lead better lives. And so most saplings are explorers or adventurers, and they find themselves walking all across the land and just engaging in many different activities. You can see even a lot of saplings taking on mercenary work, so they can just be able to see more of the world, see more people, see more things happening. And so, in general, saplings simply are wanderers. And they're all, again, like lessers, they're children. And they understand that fact. They understand that they're young and inexperienced, and they're always trying to make up for that, trying to find some kind of a way to build on their experiences and learn more. Now, let's talk a little bit about what saplings look like. Well, in general, their bodies are very tree-like. They have bark all over their body that covers them, and they can appear in any kind of tree form. So any tree you can think of, a sapling could be that, including trees that bear fruit. Some saplings do, in fact, have fruit. Now, their trunk at about waist level splits into two lower pieces of trunk, forming legs, their roots splaying out from the bottom. And as their trunk extends higher up, it eventually gets to their shoulders, where you see two very large, thick branches sprout off, forming what are essentially arms. And from there, they have their head that kind of sprouts up out of that area. And all around their head and their sprouting out of their shoulders are various branches. And these branches stick up and form all around their head. And you can see things like leaves and that kind of stuff growing all around their head, kind of forming like a halo or a mane kind of around their head. And as they grow older, these branches slowly surround their heads more and more until eventually their trunk grows up and subsumes their head into the fact that their head becomes part of their trunk. They no longer have a neck or are able to move their head around or anything like that. And at that point, they've kind of they understand that they have to be putting down roots soon. Now their eyes just appear as these sunken holes in their head. Their noses are like these snake-like slits in their bark, and their mouth is just a jagged, cracked opening in their face. And so they can appear a little menacing. But for the most part, saplings are friendly. They understand, to have good relations with other people. That allows them to get along with people better and to learn more, essentially. They know that if they're nice to people, then people will share more things with them. They can get more experience and more knowledge. And just like with the archaics are also rather friendly. They're usually very wise and eager to help other people, but again, due to their sort of long time span, they regard these sort of small interactions with people as just nothing, essentially. As just a second or two of conversation. And archaics are more likely to engage with entire families and generations of people. For example, if someone might have had a long-standing conversation where they met with someone over and over and they came often, a sapling might sort of see that as a single conversation, and then maybe their child or grandchild comes along and they see that as a continuation of the same meeting and with the same person. And so this can be kind of confusing for people who meets with archaics. They can see it as very jarring and not understanding exactly what they're talking about, and they can seem a little alien outside. But in general, people do just see them as very wise and as people to turn to for advice. So that's about all I have to talk about for the saplings. If you like this video, please subscribe. And next time we'll be talking about the last of the races, the finals. And so, thank you very much for listening, and I will see you next time.